Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Pathways. This is going to be a short one, but I am here with Mr. Jia Shing, who has just been elected the president of the NAMSA, and that is Mr. President, what does NAMSA stand for?
NAMSA is the National Assembly of Malaysian Students in the United States of America. It's a mouthful, but we just call it NAMSA for short.
Congratulations, Mr. President. And there are so many incredible things that are ahead right there. Just for context for the audience. So Jia Shing actually has been taking good care of lots of different students in the US. And in fact, contacted me a couple of months ago to ask me to, reach out to a student at MIT from Malaysia who actually was worried about and tried to offer some help, resources on behalf of NAMSA and stuff of that nature. So it's great work that you're doing right there, Jia Shing. I think NAMSA is a pretty big organization, right? If I'm not wrong.
Yeah, so the committee is basically staffed by, and this is why it's impressive, it's staffed by just full-time students doing this on a voluntary basis. We have 30 students right now in our committee, but we are taking care of and our resources are available for any Malaysian students studying in the United States. So I think the latest quoted figure from MOHE is like 4,300 students in the US. So, I mean, that sounds a lot, but if you look at the numbers in UK and Australia, that's a lot more. But yeah, that's quite a lot of students in the US.
Wow, and congratulations. You were elected the president of that organization. How do you feel?
I've been in NAMSA since my freshman year. Started off as a Secretariat General, so basically director of the Secretariat Department. And then last year, I was the Vice President of Advocacy and Welfare. And then this year, I'll be the President for NAMSA 24-25. I think, NAMSA has been a big part of my undergraduate year, being under these two different presidents, Carissa and Nadia. I think they've taught me a lot as well in terms of seeing both what NAMSA is and what NAMSA can be. So the tricky thing about NAMSA is it's always this organization where it's good to have, right? It is not something that if there's no NAMSA, Malaysian students will not have, not be able to enter the United States, let's say. Everything is still going to work just fine, but the ideal there is that NAMSA can achieve so much more, right? More structurally. So one of the things I talked about both in my manifesto and my welcoming speech as president in the AGM was that, NAMSA has always been very focused on, we are a very young organization. We're just 9 years old, and we've always been very focused on just shared cultural background. So we have the MFest and we have the Malaysian Cultural Nights, Malaysian Sports Festival and things like that. Just bringing people together from all over the United States, which is a challenge because it's so geographically distributed, just based on shared cultural backgrounds. But then more structurally, how can we contribute to the nation, right? What is our purpose of existence almost? And I think this is a good time to start moving towards the direction. So we're thinking in terms of professional development or thinking in terms of stemming brain drain from Malaysia. How can we help people see more of what it feels like to come back to Malaysia post-graduation, which is a lot of this, people have a lot of this conflict, especially when they're closer to graduation. So yeah, one of the things we're doing right now is the AUAM and NAMSA networking dinner. So one of it is going to be held on 29th of June, which is the Entrepreneurship Pathways. Registrations are live. So yeah, Victor, if you want to put in a registration link, feel free to do it in the footnotes. It'd be great if you can sign up. Welcome all of you. Admission is free. Hopefully you just get a network with both alumni, who have returned to Malaysia and understand what it means to come back to Malaysia, the opportunities available, which is sometimes, can be a bit bleak given all the noise surrounding the media, right? And then hopefully there will be one more in July, which is more corporate pathways for the scholars or people who want to at least start off with corporate to build up that model before they go into entrepreneurship. So I think these two events are well complemented, and admission for students are definitely going to be free. I'm looking forward to see all of you guys there. And yeah, feel free to talk to me if I see you there in person.
I cannot believe that you just did that contemporaneously. Ladies and gentlemen, wow, NAMSA President Jia Shing. Really quick question. Okay, so just a little follow-up, and this will be the final question.
Yeah.
What do you feel is kind of the grand vision that you have really for NAMSA? And if not just NAMSA, since I did see, of course, that you guys have been doing a lot of different events recently. There were different celebrations, there was a Hari Raya thing, and you can actually see that on the NAMSA official Instagram for those of you who are interested in learning about NAMSA activities and stuff like that. What's the grand vision? What's your hope personal or in capacity of NAMSA president for, I guess, like students in the United States and NAMSA in particular?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And it's something that I've been thinking for a while as well. I know that there are probably, maybe ballpark figure 35 to 45% of students who studied in the US went back to Malaysia or wherever they are right now who have never heard about NAMSA. It's a very common occurrence that we talk to people and they've never heard about NAMSA before, right? Because when we look at our other like Malaysian student bodies in other countries such as Australia or UK, UKEC, they have a centralized location such as London to host their in-person events, and they've also been around for much longer. So for NAMSA, we face our own set of challenges. For instance, we always mention about our geographical distribution across the United States. But also we are working with different type of students, right? I think a lot of students who come to the US, um, they are in some sense very industrious, very resourceful. Applying to the US itself is already deviating from the almost the normal or the safe path, right? So these are already talents that we're working with the cream of the crop who are really able to go out there and chase for what they want. How do we then provide them opportunities to create something and to have a more impactful time while they're in the US, right? So a few things that I can imagine here, for instance, when I was the vice president of advocacy and welfare, we started this project called the Kopitiam Briefing. So the idea here is basically every week we send out a newsletter. It's been 25 weeks right now, so about 6 months in that we've been sending out newsletters every week. Basically, we just quote three news from Malaysia or around the world that impacts Malaysia. And we are not writing the article, right? Because we are never going to be able to fight with The Edge or FMT, where we have full-time journalists. So why bother fighting with them? But we read these articles, we find them interesting. So then we send out for each story's two sections, what it is, which is just a one or two liner explaining what it's about, and then why you should care as a Malaysian student in the US. For instance, let's say the Johor Singapore Special Economic Zone. That could mean, let's say, more job opportunities in Malaysia, right? Or like Microsoft investment into Malaysia. Yeah, it sounds really great, but then there's some caveats. Is it very high value things coming into Malaysia, or is it just pushing things that are lower down the value chain into Malaysia, right? So dispelling some of this myth, like getting people to really understand, especially for students in Malaysia, right? That's one, helping people to do it. Then secondly, helping our own members who are interested in econs to have an opportunity to write about this stuff and have a track record of work. And then thirdly, we have all been part of this when we're interviewing for, let's say, a finance position or like an internship. We want to quickly catch up on Malaysian news. And then Kopitiam Briefing is there to help you scroll through the past 5 issues and know 10 to 15 news that happen in Malaysia, because you can very easily be out of touch, when you're a student in the US. You have WSJ, you have NYT, but you don't really hear about so many Malaysian news. So then that's where NAMSA comes in to create opportunities, try to create opportunities for not just internally, but also for students, and then figure out a way that we can create a platform for people to make their ideas come true. So I think that's the real potential of NAMSA, right? We're working with talented people, then we have your idea as the mind, and then we give it a structure in terms of funding, in terms of getting people to make it happen. So that's the true potential of NAMSA that I'm very excited to work with all these talented people that are in NAMSA 24-25.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Jia Shing. And
Thank
yeah,
you.
all the very best. And let's hope that many more people in Malaysia will eventually see the wonders of, well, studying in the US. And all the very best on your presidency. And thank you for the many good things that you'll be doing for Malaysia, both now and in the days ahead.
Looking forward to it. Thank you, Victor.
Was welcome.